Hello, Adventures in LARPing folks. Today we're coming at you from Ireland.
Hi, we're back with Adventures in LARP. I'm Thax,
Courtney.
I'm Joe.
and we're going to take a little time to talk about building characters and using small details, be those character quirks or actual physical costume pieces that really make a character stand out and set you apart from the cardboard cutout characters.
Pardon my yawns. It's been a long day for me.
Who
But
wants to start this? Yeah.
I go ahead and start because, hey, I'm waving around a pretty little wooden stick that smells
Props.
amazing. This is a prop. This is a
Give her
prop.
props. Oh wait, yes, you're right.
This is a one we are making today because we're also filming during 8-bit salute. I'm looking at the TV, not the camera. I'm sorry. It's been a long day for us because we have been up since about midnight last night at the very least. Some of us are running on about 2 hours of sleep since 8 a.m. the previous day. But this is prop 1 that we made out of a branch of cedar. Joe here is the one who actually carved it. Tamped down the little aluminum, pretty steel little ring at the end that I can just go boop to somebody with. Not that that's actually legal. I'm not advocating that. It's just fun to do.
Had more time, I'd make.
But
it
you
look
plan
like
on
later, but, you know.
really
Yeah.
adding that is a real part of your character.
Yeah, because when this costume is completely finished, because it is still a work in progress, I will be an high elven caster. Noble background, kind of just out there having fun. Yeah, she found a group to, have fun with, and that group gets paid to, do fun things. To her, at least. She's slightly touched in the head, possibly.
Oh, there's all
But-
those are.
Yeah, she's an elf. So this is just a branch of cedar we cut down. It smells amazing. I love cedar. It's got beautiful nutty texture on some of it. Some of the other stuff we built is a simple garland crownlet, whatever you want to call it, circlet. And my favorite accessory, because I can wear these outside of LARP, are these beautiful, beautiful little ear cuffs that...
And something so you can use.
Oh, it's okay. These beautiful ear cuffs. I've got 2 of them that I made myself because beads are cheap and I love working with beads. They are sparkly and magpie-y. If I had the time, I'd probably attach sparklies to everything, including the wand. Yeah, she's a bit of a magpie, like me. And this really took, it took me 40 minutes to make the pair of them. I wasn't watching the time. I was just kind of engrossed in beadwork and having fun. And these are the little details that make a character. I'm also wearing, I have to actually kind of, unfold a little bit and expose myself here, a leaf belt that Christopher Glover made. Now, this is kind of playing along with that whole high elven kind of feel. We kept the natural elements and the leaf shape and the veining, but we made it look a little prettier by going with a shiny silvery metal, which is nice and lightweight. And I need to sand it down, but I don't feel a thing. And things like that. Nice, pretty materials. Ignore the shirt that's under it and the coat that's over it. I am cold in the studio. But it's little things like that, including the little sparklies on the nails that make...
So you're talking about jewelry accessories
Jewelry
that
accessories.
are really making
Or-
your
the
costume
biggest accessory is
a big stick.
a big stick that
Big pointy stick.
big pointy stick
Watch
that
out, that
can
pirate.
yeah
Here
no
she comes.
you know if this were Harry Potter, this would be Sparks at the end of this. Yeah, my favorite magical franchise is Harry Potter. Yeah, I'm a fangirl.
Well, Joe, I know you have a lot of different characters that you've played over the years, and some of them definitely stand out. What comes to mind to you that you've created or made up to set your character off to make it more interesting to you to play?
Well, generally I look at accessories. I generally look at accessories and what I have around me, but I also look at personality types that maybe a little bit harder for most regular cosplayers or LARPers play. Like I did a character called Azil Khan. He was the ruling noble. The character I played of Azil Khan, he didn't speak English, so I had an interpreter interpret for me. And the joke was, if you ever watched Whose Lines It Anyways, is foreign film dub. That's the whole skit. Is I will say gibberish, and my interpreter will interpret for me what that gibberish means. And it made a lot of fun in the character development, because technically speaking, he could understand English because I could understand English in character, but I played it off as that I didn't, and so lots of people came up here, tried to imitate my language, and my interpreter would interpret for me once again, and generally cause a really comedic scene of like, you just insulted my mother, and it just degrades into fun things, but that's...
So really, your interpreter was playing your character.
Yes. But the thing is I would have to react as what my interpreter was doing. I had to react, and sometimes I would react, and he would have to come up with something on the fly for what I was doing. So it was kind of a really good team quality. The other thing, I guess, really what it goes into is I look for characters when I make them is to either set a purpose for role play, or a specific type of role play, or set a specific type of character flaws, and see how well they mesh inside different role play aspects, different role play scenarios. And so that's why I end up with my main character, which is Darian Spider, which I also use for cosplay name too. But he's an orphan, basically, who with a very tragic past. He was my first one, and then his subordinate, and the subordinate, and the cat guy. I can go on. I don't want to. But
So did you write all those in, or did they just sort of happen to you?
most of them I wrote them in. Most of them I had a specific purpose, and I was like, you know what? I'm writing role play out. I need a character, but I don't have anybody to bounce ideas or other characters off of at the time, so I just made up one. I literally wrote an entire backstory for the character I was portraying, and I ended up with several really cool, interesting characters.
Oh, really fun.
And
I remember doing that in high
This
school.
reminds me of my first character, and I didn't know what I was doing, and my character was fairly boring. I was just playing a role, and what you risk when you don't write up your own character and make it interesting, if you're lucky, your friends will write it for you. And suddenly found after a few weeks, a few months, that my character had become related to other people's characters in the game. Somehow I was the brother of this other guy, and we were both sons of this other dude who already had established a family. Now I was related to half the people on the field in one way or in the other. Another person decided that my character was her son, and she was a half dragon, and it just got really, really weird. Possibly because I did not bother to write my own character in the first place, and it left it open for anybody to take. No, doesn't happen to you?
My first characters were, well, I wrote them in high school. That kind of explains itself. I have vastly improved in character writing. So
There's only one character, take that back. There's only two characters that I've written that don't really have backstories. That is the cat person, which I never explained his backstory, and the paranoid king, which I've always wanted to play.
Okay, so
Those are
sort
some
of
characters.
archetypes
Yeah.
that you're sort of jumping into, but not full drawn out characters. Interesting.
well, we don't have time. I was gonna say, well, what do you start with when you make a character? But we're about to hit time, so maybe we
Yeah,
save that
we'll
for
need
another
to-
discussion.
need to pick this up another time. Again, we're Adventures in LARPing. I'm Thax. Joe and Courtney here. We've been talking about building your character.
6 a.m.
Pause. Stop.
Go whack him with a stick.
Phalanges. Sorry.
Okay, bye.
You just hit me over the head with that thing. Seriously.
Next time on Name That Smell.
Burning heart.
Hey, welcome back to Adventures in LARPing. I'm here as well as Thax, and then we've also added today Joe Ginnings of Colony Drop Cosplay. We talked a little bit with Lorelei Hutchins earlier in the season, and now we've got the other half of Colony Drop Cosplay who also does a little bit of LARP with us on the side. Today we're talking movies.
I like movies.
Yeah. Since we started seeing LARP showing up in the media, we started seeing some movies that don't just have LARP, but really bring it in as a central theme to the movie. So today we're going to talk about role models. It's an easy one to see. It's on Netflix, I believe.
Yes. I think
It's a good I think that it's a bit of a starter movie on LARP. What do you guys think? Throws out some opinions here.
Well, I think it's a good starter movie for anyone that's never really understood what a LARP is. But don't take it wholeheartedly because there's some extreme personalities to that genre that they put in.
I think it's been out for quite some time, and a lot of people have seen it because it's got some good actors and it's a pretty funny movie. And it's really given us an opportunity to say, have you ever heard of LARP before? Oh, have you seen role models? And I get a lot more people saying, oh yeah, I saw that. That looked ridiculous. But just for getting the word LARP out into the public, this movie did us wonders, I think.
I do think that even though it kind of portrays some of the LARPers as a bit of the joke, and we really want to strive as a community to kind of get away from that. But I do think that they still portrayed it as something that everyone can get into. I mean, even at the end of the movie, we're talking spoilers here about folks dressed in KISS paraphernalia to try and do stuff in LARP. And really, at any LARP that I go to, I really don't want to see KISS paraphernalia. But even then, the one of the pieces that I really, really liked is one line. The main character, one of the big name actors, dies, and in this battle with one of the guys that's real serious into the LARP, and they've kind of been button heads here and there throughout the movie. And as they finish off of this fight and this butting heads, they turn and say, "Hey, did you have fun?" It was like, "Yeah. I think I really did have fun. All right, see you next season." Yeah. So even though they were, butting heads and the bad guy or the anti character here was really kind of made throughout the movie to be a problematic and just too far into what he was doing. In the end, it was all about, hey, this is fun,
I know what you're saying, Joe, that they poke a lot of fun at LARPers, and it's an easy shot to make fun of those goofy nerds doing this silly thing. But it was a comedy. They're making fun of everything.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I think LARPers need to have a certain amount of thick skin and be able to make fun of themselves. It's just, a healthy skill for anyone in life. But that said, some of the jokes were dead on. You totally know guys like that, whatever the joke was. And the movie ended with glorifying
the burger hole before every battle.
the LARP as being really awesome. It ended on a high note. I thought that was great. Plus, I think Kiss shoes are awesome, and I want some.
Well, no, the whole ending of the movie I liked because it was literally one of those like, oh look, there's women in this LARP, and you could most likely date them.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. That they definitely used a female character within the LARP game part of the movie as being
And she kicked butt too.
a butt
Strong
kicker.
female presence in the movie, which is
And yeah, she didn't
always
need
a
a
good
man
thing.
to defend her. And when she had one, she totally took great advantage of him, sucker. which was great, and I've seen that plenty of times in LARP.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought it was
It was my problem
Fun.
was about midway through, and there was a couple of characters that they had portrayed, like the king. I know someone that looks like that, and a little bit acts like that, but not to his extreme. Not to the
well.
extreme.
I
and
think
it's just
being a comedy, I think they're going to take
Yeah.
anything to extreme. But having done some LARP as long as we have, I think we can all come up with names of individuals that fit all of those characters to a T. But I also
but
think
we won't. We won't.
as long as we're paid. No, but I think that at the same token, you can do that with any organization and any group that you're part of. You're going to have some folks
SEA.
that fall to all sorts of extremes, and some folks are just kind of goofy folks. But if we can embrace that, kind of like they did in the movie, then you end up with a stronger organization as a whole.
as a movie as a whole, I liked the whole thing as a whole. There was just little nitpicky things that I thought were just kind of weird. to me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as a movie as a whole, I loved it. I loved the fact that the Minotaur was a giant truck.
I was a little surprised, slightly disappointed maybe, that the Minotaur costume that you see at the beginning didn't show up at the end with the LARP parts.
I know, right?
I don't think that I ever thought about that, but that would have been really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the costume's there, you've rented it and all. I don't know. That would have been a lot of fun.
That would have been cool.
That would have been good. Well, all right. So, role models, just all around a good show about LARP.
I give it a thumbs up, sure.
All right.
Mhm.
We'll give some thumbs. This is our first movie review, so we don't really know how to rate things, but it looks like we're going to rate it in all sorts of thumbs. And
A couple of phalanges.
Keep your phalanges to yourself, sir.
yeah, this is a family show. All right. So, stay tuned for some more adventures in LARPing, and thanks for hanging with us.
Hi, my name is Dave Mesa. I am one of the managers of a park called the Devil's Bayou, where we host the biggest Dagger Here event in Texas history called Forging Pangea. Dagger Here is a full-contact medieval combat sport played with boffer weapons. It's great fun. Everybody should try it at least once.
Hi, and welcome back to Adventures in LARPing. I'm Chris Glover, and of course my cohort, Matt Griffith. And
doing?
we are joined today by Miss Kristen Hammock.
Hi.
We've known Kristen for a long while, and she's done a variety of various LARP activities and is quite the crafter and seamstress and artisan of a variety of sorts. So Kristen, what kinds of things do you have going on right now?
Mostly I'm doing SCA right now.
Okay, wonderful.
SCA, I've heard of that. That stands for something.
The Society for Creative Anachronism.
Creative anachronism. Interesting.
Anachronism means something that is out of place in time, like having a cell phone at a Civil War reenactment.
Sure. I think the SCA seems to be a prevalent group throughout the world, and most definitely I would think that it fits within the LARP style. I know that some SCA folks may not consider themselves LARPers.
I'm sure that some Skadians would dispute that. It is a thing that you dress up in clothes you would normally wear, and you go to public
Right.
places and you scare the straights. And you also make cool stuff. So I think that it generally fits in with the whole subculture. but they would consider themselves generally separate from LARPing, I think.
Wonderful.
People in the SCA, they also make characters for themselves. Am I correct?
Yes, they do.
Build histories of their characters and what have you, but they take it in a different sort of route than other LARPs, right?
They do. They have a bigger emphasis on having a historical basis. My name in SCA is Osanna van der Linden, which is a German name that existed in the time period that I'm trying to emulate. So in the 1480s, in Germany, there were women named Osanna. It was a regularly popular name, and we can find that on birth records. So to register your name, you have to find the place and time that you wanted to be and find proof that that name existed then.
I see. So a
So
little bit of a hunt at the library.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting search for scholarship in little ways like that, which really encourages people to delve into their past and into their genealogies and to figure out what really inspires them about the past.
So they're really interested or focused on historical research and historical reenactment.
Generally, yes. I think that there is a divide between the arts and sciences community and the fighting community, wherein the fighting community is not as emphasized to have a historical accuracy unless you're in the top tier of the fighting community. But in the arts and sciences, everybody just expects that that's just something that you're interested in and will encourage you.
I do know that some of the SCA folks and groups that I've hung out with in the past, there is a whole lot of encouragement for building and building yourself, building your skills and things like that. That's the sort of thing that
They have this wonderful, wonderful sense that everyone is feeding everyone else's passions. So you see somebody who's interested in something you're interested in, you give them a little piece of your research or some insight you've learned so that they can build up. And so everybody's trying to build up everybody else.
Okay.
So it's like this group improvement thing. I've been in other groups where it seemed like everyone kept their knowledge in this little pile and they didn't really want to share because that was some improvement that they had made and that they didn't, they weren't interested in sharing that technology until they had reached the pinnacle of it. But
Right.
in SCA, it really seems like everybody's like, oh, well, you're doing that? Well, here's some research I found on that.
neat.
Go
Neat.
check it out. Like, I recently learned about marbled paper in Turkey in the 1400s.
Oh,
And I talked to a lady who does Turkish costuming, and she says, I've got books on that. And whipped it all out for me and showed me all the different methods for it.
that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of sharing knowledge and spreading the word. So, how long have you been doing LARP sort of things?
Since I was 15, which is an embarrassingly long time ago.
Understand, we won't go any further than that. What got you started?
I was always interested in fantasy stuff. I read Dune at 11 and got really interested in different ways that cultures might interact together. And then I met some people that did D&D, and we were in a D&D group, and then that D&D group got really, really big. So we looked for something that we could all do at once and found AmpGuard and then started that. And I think that was 17 years of AmpGuard after that.
Nice, nice. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, you are quite the crafter and seamstress. What kinds of artistic things do you do?
I like to make everything. I don't like there to be a thing I don't know how to do. It gives you a lot of insight on the work that goes into something when you know at least the basics of how it goes together and the time involved. So I really like to, if somebody's doing bookbinding, I really want to know how they put that together and know what kind of binding it was and stuff and learn about it. Right now I do a lot of illumination from period, and I do a lot of making clothes, usually earlier period stuff. I didn't get to make this dress. A friend of mine made it for me.
Ah,
But it has fantastic feathers on the hat.
it does. It does. Every so often I've seen some feathers at a particular craft store, and I've wanted to make a hat that had a whole pile of feathers of a variety of questionable colors, and I keep being told by my better half that I should knock it off and get what I'm supposed to be getting at the store. But there will be a hat of questionably colored feathers in my future at some point.
It's very important. You should go into German stuff. They got feathers everywhere. There are woodcuts with
I am a
feathers.
fan. Well, I'm a big fan of some of the Warhammer game and costuming off of that sort of thing, which ties into loosely some of the historical German context. And so I know what you're going for there. So you mentioned illumination. Tell me some more about that, about what you're doing and
Well, in a lot of different LARPs, awards are given, right? So you achieve a certain level or you do something really cool, and your leadership might give you an award. So in AmpGuard and SCA and a lot of other groups, you get awards in ladder forms, and those awards are sometimes just printed sheets of paper.
Okay.
And when I started doing it, I was like, this could be so much more special. And I was kind of scrabbling in the dark, and I didn't know anything about illumination proper. So I started to look up stuff on the internet, and I found some really great images, and I started to make awards. And at first it was colored pencils on like notebook paper, and then
Right.
and now I do proper illumination in a late period styles with perspective and all kinds of details about the person, and I paint
Okay.
that on watercolor paper with gouache paints, which is roughly what they used in period.
Okay. When you mention details about the person, you're talking more about painting in designs and things rather than the text portion of the award.
Oh
correct?
yes, I am a very bad calligrapher. I have a friend who does that for me, and it's lovely, but I just can't. I can't hack it. I don't know if it's something about, there's a lot of precision in holding the pen, and paint feels much more fluid and natural to me.
Gotcha.
And I just can't do it. So I trade a friend of mine babysitting, and she does my calligraphy for me.
Now that is a trade.
I have seen a number of your illuminations, and not only are they stunning, but you've really made a name for yourself, if I might say. Having your illuminations and your awards delivered across the country to different groups and different individuals who are winning major awards, and you are the person who people go to or have come to for help in really making something extraordinary.
I did find that was kind of true in AmpGuard, but in SEA there's so much more of a talent pool, and it's really lovely to have a lot of people to learn from. But I think that I largely became very popular in that way because I challenged myself. You know when you do a thing for a long time and you have to kind of set yourself little goals to keep yourself going?
Okay.
Well, there are 14 kingdoms of AmpGuard, and I made a challenge to myself that I had to make an award for every kingdom.
Okay.
So I made contacts, and I spread illumination to those people, and then I made them want it, and then I made them want me to make them awards. And so
I see.
I eventually Pokemon'd out and got all of them. And I even did 4 kingdom charters. So new kingdoms as they were created chose me to make their charter and do the thing. It was very nice.
That's kind of a big deal. So you said SCA has a much larger talent pool. Is that one of the reasons why you were drawn into the
yes.
SCA?
There's so many people to learn stuff from. And as I said before, the culture being so sharing, I learned how to paint Ukrainian eggs a few weeks ago, and how to make Italian plates in a style called maiolica, and all these things that I would have been able to find on the internet if I'd been looking, but no one was really offering to teach me.
I see.
So there are so many people to learn so many things from. It's really lovely. I really enjoy it. And it's also nice that I'm not the only one somebody's coming to when they have a question. So if there's a question about illumination,
Right.
I can say, well, I know 20 other people who are much better at that than me, and you can go talk to them,
Gotcha.
which is really nice.
Gotcha. And you mentioned that doing the plates, what was the term again?
It's called maiolica.
I think I saw a couple of pictures of some of that when you were talking about it some. And I've been meaning to get back to you. I need to redo my china, and we need a whole 12-piece setting.
Oh my goodness. I don't know about that, man.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, sure.
You are always welcome to come on down here and chat with us at the show. And if you've ever like to come down with some of your illumination or plates or what have you, you are always welcome to come on down and
Sure.
Share with everybody that watches the show.
I'll come and do better show and tell next time.
Excellent. You heard it right here, folks. Stay tuned for some more adventures in LARPing. And of course,